Hi guys, Trevor Swenson with Through the Darkness. My personal journey with PTSD, trauma and stressor related disorder. Today I wanted to talk about something that has come up a couple of times as far as a topic is concerned, and I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it. Obviously, hopefully you know by now I'm not a doctor, a counselor, or a psychiatrist, but I am somebody who has PTSD and who has walked the journey and who is in the journey. And so I thought I would talk about medication and some of the highlights and lowlights and how things went for me in hopes of maybe encouraging people one way or another to at least ask questions and start that discussion if you haven't already. I will tell you that my journey with medications was one of reluctance and stubbornness. I can still remember very clearly when I finally decided to do something about my increasing anxiety and my depression in the situation that I was in. And to be quite honest, I was extremely fearful. I was fearful about things that ended up not being true at all. I was very fearful of me completely changing and being a different person, an unrecognizable person on medication, that it would change who I was and people wouldn't recognize me, and all sorts of weird thoughts along those particular lines. It's kind of interesting because a pharmacist at the time lived next door to us, and I know for a fact she got very tired of me asking questions about the one single drug that I was going to try taking to help me. I did a nauseating amount of homework on it, and I will tell you that whatever you want to find out about a drug online, you will find out. You will find the horror stories and you will find the miraculous turnarounds. And what I found is that the truth lies somewhere there within, and that unless you're talking to a doctor that has seen a lot of people like you and I, the rest is just talk, if you will. When you take a look at the side effect list on any of the drugs that are utilized to help treat PTSD, the side effects they turned out for me to be significantly overblown and worse than they actually were, which makes sense. So the fear was very, very real. But I will tell you that overall, medication has helped me immensely. I'm on a couple of different medications for a couple of different aspects of PTSD currently, and I can tell you that my quality of life is better with them right now. And I can tell you that in confidence because I made the mistake of starting to feel well at one point when the threat was gone, when I was out of the war zone, as I like to refer to it as in my story. And I decided to see where my baseline was. I decided to figure out truly how much the situation I was in had changed me as a person, and just to completely be clean of all medications that were helping me and just focus on being physically fit and living a healthy lifestyle. And for me, it was very ugly. It was very depressing, and it was very angering to see how much the trauma had changed me as a person with no medication whatsoever. I was extremely depressed to a very, very bad and sad point. My anxiety was not controlled at all, and I was extremely angry at what the situation and years had done to me. So I immediately made the decision to to go back onto medication. And one of the things that helped me significantly was to get involved with a psychiatrist. Obviously, a psychiatrist is able to prescribe drugs for injuries and disorders like I struggle with, and has seen literally thousands of cases and helped thousands of people with very similar situations. One of the things that I found to be true is that when you talk to somebody who has that overwhelming sense of confidence that I've seen this before, you're gonna be okay, we're gonna get this taken care of, it gives you an overwhelming sense of comfort, and this is going to get better for me with time. You'll have to apologize, Murphy. He wants to be in on this as well this morning. A couple of things. I tried toughing it out, and there was a danger in it for me in toughing it out, because when I was toughing it out, I was drinking more. That was my medication. And I can only imagine the number of years that were taken off of my life in that particular time frame because of my drinking and because of me being at a continued state of hyper-arousal and hyper-vigilance and anxiety. All of those chemicals coursing through my body, I know that was not good in any way, shape, or form for my body. So I know that that wasn't the answer. Therapy was helpful, but there came a point where I just needed to make the call that I need to be on something because my baseline after the traumatic season was not good. I also want to talk about not judging what happens on medication too early and being aware of what can happen and what did happen with me. Every time that I switched a medication, because it took a while to figure out which medication worked the best for me, and part of that is being very, very, very clear with what you're experiencing and what you're struggling with, because PTSD can manifest itself in so many different ways with each individual person. And for me, obviously the anxiety was the first thing I wanted to deal with, and then the depression became a huge part of the puzzle, and the major depressive disorder. And then there was also the short-term issues that I was dealing with in a professional setting where I would need things on a situational basis as well. So my medication story is a little bit complex. But I want to point out that on all of the medications that I went on, the long acting medications, they all have a ramp up and a ramp down time frame where, to be quite honest, I felt like absolute garbage for a few weeks. I literally woke up every day feeling like I had the flu and slept and was very, very tired and just felt completely drained. And it made sense to me, being a biology and chemistry guy, that your body's just trying to figure out how to normalize and how to find that homeostasis and get used to the new normal and recalibration. And so be aware of you're going to feel like garbage, or it could feel like garbage for a number of weeks, and things normalize, and you can get a snapshot of what that does for you. And for me, some of them just didn't work. They had side effects emotionally. I still remember the one that I would cry at the slightest hint of anything sentimental. I would get teared up and I could feel a lump in my throat, and I just thought to myself, holy smokes, this is not the dude that I am at all, and needed to make a change for that. And so you'll notice those things, and I had to make those fine-tune adjustments with the doctors and with the providers. And again, the underlying thing here is to get help for your trauma and stressor related disorder or your unresolved trauma. Gutting it out without a plan and trying to figure it out yourself, I just know that literally took years off my life and almost took my life doing it that way. And that was not the answer for me. And again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm simply talking about my experience because I'm in it. I'm in the battle right now, and hopefully there's some level of validation for you in having this talk. So communication is very, very important when it comes to medications. And I deal with long-term medication and then an as-needed medication as well for situations that I know will be especially stressful or triggering to me, but are part of normal everyday life, and obviously use those sparingly and as needed and as prescribed by my provider. That's very important as well. Don't mess with your medications. Follow the doctor's orders and communicate with them openly. In today's society, with the my charts and the electronic communication, there really is no excuse to not be in contact with your doctor with what's going on, and you'll obviously end up better off in the long run because of it. I want to close today in talking about medication, about 3 things that I have figured out that are a very important part of the process on top of medication. I know and have figured out that just being medicated isn't going to solve the PTSD puzzle for me. And I know 3 things are going to be a big part of it, and I've started to really embrace these 3 things. Number 1 is accepting the changes that have happened to me. Accepting that I am going to be a more quiet person, that I'm going to be less tolerant of chaos, to know that I'm going to embrace and enjoy solitude and quiet time by myself a lot more, and to accept the changes that have taken place within our family that aren't necessarily bad, they're just different. For instance, I'm not going to be a world traveler. I'm going to really enjoy the things that are around me, that surround me, and I'm just going to live as close to a quiet, normal life as I can. Also, one of the keys that I know for a fact is going to be part of my healing process is pouring into other people. Having done this video series has been very cathartic for me, and as painful as it's been during some of actually most of the episodes, as painful as it's had an underlying level of purpose, knowing that there may be one person or 2 people out there that either hear something, see something, or figure something out in their battle with dealing with trauma in their life that is helpful. So pouring into people is the second thing that is going to really help me in my process. And the third thing is figuring out how to heal healthy. And for me, where I'm sitting right now is part of healing healthy. Just immersing myself in the absolute beauty of God's creation and really striving to have a heart more like His, and really listening carefully for what He is trying to show me and tell me through this particular journey. And one thing I know for sure is that helping other people is one of the things that without a doubt, because He loves His people, you, me, so much, that there is no doubt that helping other people is going to be part of my healthy healing. And then spending lots of time in His creation as well. There is just so much to take in with all of your senses in the beautiful creation, and looking at the complexity of design and the simple beauty, the simple smells, the simple textures. It's just one of those things that I know will absolutely be part of my healing process. So acceptance, pouring into people, and healing in a healthy, nature-based way is absolutely going to be part of my healing process, and it may be for you as well. And I just wanted to thank you for being with me this morning. Thanks for being with Murphy this morning. Make sure you click and subscribe. Would love to have you as a subscriber. Hit notification, forward it to somebody that might be on the fence or struggling with medication. Know that there is hope. Know that there are great doctors out there that are able to be personally involved to help you get well in your journey with PTS and trauma and stressor related disorder. Until next time, be well and take care.